So the Synthesizers subreddit is toxic AF, but my Discord is pretty much the complete opposite. It's all love up in there, lots of brains, creativity, electronic music, gear, tech, inspiration, all day long. So join up if that's something that you're into. I also have a Patreon full of exclusive content, discounts on sample packs, extended versions of a lot of my videos. So let's get right into it, my friends, the Synthesizers subreddit. I still do think that it's a relevant place on the internet, specifically for niche synth related content. There is a ton of people on that subreddit, most of which I'm sure are inactive at this point. And even though there seems to be like an unfortunate layer of people who just choose to be a general burden, I still do think that there's enough people in the subreddit that are actually interested in learning about synths, maybe are beginners looking to create or at least learn about creating electronic music with hardware. And I'd like to talk about how toxic of a place it can be. It's not always toxic, but I've had a few experiences and it's definitely not okay. So let's start with an example. And it has to do with one of my latest like little performance clips that I like to post. This one. I post these vertical little performance clips on pretty much all of my platforms. So like, for example, Instagram. And so great, all nice comments, good response to the video. There was some interest in the gear that I was using, how I was using that particular gear. I also posted it on all the other platforms that I'm active on. So like 3 or 4 other platforms. The very same post on the Synthesizers subreddit did get a lot more attention. There were a lot of people who actually liked the video and upvoted the video. But let's take a look at some of the comments. So the caption of the video is, "This is how Chroma Console makes your drum sound." The very first comment is, "Curious to hear what they sound like dry, or else it's really hard to know what the Chroma is actually doing." And so fair enough. Someone else commented, "Agreed." There's another comment, "Not gonna lie, this is less than the sum of its parts." It's not very nice. Another comment, "Why do you keep moving your hands away so quickly? Is it hot or are you playing staccato?" In my response to someone else, I suggest that some people are a little bit grumpy in this subreddit, to which I received this response, "You've just worn yourself thin in every facet of the music gear themed internet that it comes off as a bit obtuse when you continue to shill videos on the same corner, but you still shrug off all the negativity like a naive tween on their 15th birthday. Hope you're having a nice day, Lillian." Someone else said, "It sound like beatboxing? Is that machine a sampler? Doesn't sound like beatboxing. What do they pay you to post this stuff? I have a CC and this is garbage." There were definitely some positive ones as well, but it's just like the overall vibe of the subreddit. And as I mentioned, this post in particular is like the perfect example of why I keep posting in the Synthesizer subreddit, because yes, we have this like layer of hate, but then underneath that we have positive comments. The post is getting attention. It's hopefully inspiring people. Yes, the haters do exist, but if I could reach people who are actually interested, then I guess I'll take the hit. I was actually thinking about this today. The people who post hateful comments like this, there's always something in common with all of them. It's like faceless accounts, so you can never really know who they are. They're just like spitting hate onto the internet, just trying to ruin your day, just trying to be a burden. And these accounts might as well be bots, right? Like, isn't that what a bot does? It's like a faceless account that trolls. When you post something on the internet, especially when it's something creative, you're exposing a certain part of yourself and there's like a vulnerability there. My guess is that these haters feed off of that sort of vulnerability in the hopes that maybe through their comments they'll gain some sort of control over how you feel. So maybe it's a control thing. I don't know. I'm not going to try and psychoanalyze these people. The common thread is that they just want engagement. They want like some sort of engagement from you. These haters, a lot of times, not with every post, it's like specific posts for whatever reason, they're first in line in the Synthesizer subreddit. They're like a very loud minority of haters. Another interesting thing that I gathered is that the Synthesizer subreddit is filled with consumers of gear, people who keep up with new gear or maybe old gear, like vintage gear. But in some cases, there seems to be like a reluctance to buy that new gear. So why do I think that? Anyone who's in my position or even close to my position, someone who's a creator who posts about synths and electronic music, whatever. Myself and people like me, we've been dismissed as being shills. A shill in this context, meaning creators who selectively choose or cover products to make money off of or to gain views for their channel, which, I mean, there's no way around that if you're a creator. there's going to be a bit of that going on your channel. It's going to influence you whether you like it or not. I actually understand this like shill sentiment to a certain degree because no creator is 100% clean in this respect. So I'm not going to lie, there is a certain amount of truth to it. I'm also starting to get tired of all of this new gear, like day one gear being shoved down our throats by, you know, the same YouTubers and companies. I'm someone who's been a part of this to a certain extent in the past few years. I personally don't really want to be that sort of creator anymore. And so I'm a lot more selective with the gear that I'm choosing to showcase on this channel. A lot of it just has to do with my natural progression as a producer, a performer as well. And it's becoming less about like the hype new products that are coming out on a weekly basis, it seems. In fact, the way things are going, a lot of the gear that I'm featuring now is gear that I've actually invested in with my own money. All this being said, getting back to the Synthesizers subreddit, we took a little bit of a detour there. There is a major conflict with this whole shill sentiment in the Synthesizers subreddit. Recently, there was a who's your favorite synth YouTuber kind of post, and all of the biggest synth YouTubers who constantly feature the newest and bestest products were praised and judged for their work. And that's fine. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of people in the Synthesizers subreddit, so obviously you can't paint broad strokes, but just like the cognitive dissonance in my experience to post directly related content in a non-spammy way, following all the rules of the subreddit, and to consistently get that sort of negative response. Honestly, at this point, it's not even frustrating anymore. It's stepping a little bit more into the realm of fascination. And it's been even worse in the past too, again, in my experience. This video, which I posted a few months ago now, about a ton of gear that I got rid of because there was way too much overlap in the functionality of the gear within my setup, which is why I decided to get rid of a lot of gear. By the way, here's a link to that video in case you're interested, and also the extended version is on Patreon. So I posted this, and immediately, specifically in the Synthesizers subreddit, like nowhere else, people just started hating on this post, like truly triggered by the fact that I was getting rid of a bunch of gear. I even posted the same thing over in the dawless subreddit. It didn't get that sort of response. So it's not even Reddit as a whole, it's like specifically the Synthesizer subreddit. I don't know what it is. For whatever reason, it attracts and cultivates this sort of like toxic behavior. It encourages it. What I would call like the hard layer of the Synthesizer subreddit, who are interested and up to date with the newest gear collectors, maybe even vintage gear collectors, engineers, whatever it is. Why were they so offended, and why specifically in the Synthesizer subreddit? I also made it with other creators or like aspiring creators in mind, even just people who like to post their creative experience or their creative process online, who want to be part of a community, let's say. I wanted to point out that some places on the internet really are just toxic, and the way that people react to your music, to your content, whatever you want to call it, it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It really wasn't my intention to trigger anybody with this video. Maybe it was just the thumbnail that kind of triggered people. Honestly, I doubt that any of them actually watched the video. They just saw the thumbnail and were like, blah. So anyway, posting that video in the Synthesizer subreddit resulted in the video actually being deleted because of the reaction to the video. Despite not breaking any rules, it was a directly related video. One of the moderators took it down because it was like an overwhelmingly negative reaction. If this sort of reaction had happened in any other place on the internet, if it was on my Instagram, on my, on my YouTube, if I got that sort of reaction, I for sure would have reconsidered the video. I might have even taken the video down. It was just the Synthesizer subreddit, a bunch of haters coming out of their digital holes. In fact, the YouTube comment section of that video was like the complete opposite. People were saying that it was a refreshing video for them. A lot of people related to me getting rid of a bunch of gear for the reasons that I got rid of them. And they had mentioned that they sort of took it as a cue that maybe they should be doing the same thing, right? Like clearing out the stuff they don't need. Because I've been posting in the Synthesizer subreddit for so long, I noticed that I've been targeted by like a select group of people, that sort of behavior. And sometimes the volume of that behavior, like the support that behavior gets once it starts, it's like a snowball. It's really not okay. And it's toxic. I'm by no means here to suggest that people can't comment what they want on a video as long as it follows the rules of that subreddit. Like people could say whatever they want, that's fine. And I have no control over that, but like several things could be true at once, right? This is something that I thought was just important for me to express. I wouldn't be surprised if other people in my little niche experience the same thing with the Synthesizer subreddit, because like I said, it is a relevant place to be posting content about synths. I just hope that as a result, people aren't discouraged from posting on the internet altogether because of that behavior, because there's always going to be people who support you as well. Fuck the haters, just let them gas each other up. And yeah, the Synthesizers subreddit can be toxic as fuck. Anyone who may be discouraged by the cruel ways of the internet, and specifically the Synthesizer subreddit, a perfect remedy to that is my Discord. It's open for business, it's an open forum. I'm the moderator of that forum, so it's good vibes all around. And on top of that, there's like a bunch of different discussions going on at once about synths or things related to synths. So Discord can be a little bit overwhelming, but if you're into that sort of open forum format, then maybe it's right for you. At this point, I'm there every day, so hope to see you there. And yeah, hope to see you in the next video as well.